carbon tax, carbon pricing, major issue. Obviously, we've had court challenges, and I'd like you to focus on, for a second, how that plays out relative to the Council, the Federation, the provinces that are challenging, what that means, where it's headed, and how does it play in the election?
Sure. So we've had two reference case decisions, one in Saskatchewan, one in Ontario, both by the most senior courts in those provinces, the Provincial Courts of Appeal. In both cases, the courts found that the federal government is within its constitutional authority under the peace, order, and good governance clauses to enact that and enforce the legislation that brings in a carbon pricing system across Canada as a backstop. So far, the feds are 2-0. In both cases, though, it was a split decision. There were dissenting judges in both Saskatchewan and Ontario, and this was already heading to the Supreme Court because of the national interest scope of this issue. But having split decisions in both cases sort of smooths that path to the Supreme Court. I don't anticipate new court challenges coming at the provincial level unless Premier Kenney so moves. My current assumption is that the provinces will focus on that Supreme Court level, and they're all sort of lining up as interveners. New Brunswick Premier Higgs will be in as an intervener. He has said, and he opposes the federal carbon pricing system. The Premier of Quebec, Premier Legault, has also expressed interest in the proceedings, and not out of a lack of support for carbon pricing. There is a cap and trade system in Quebec currently, but really to protect provincial jurisdiction, which is a common position that Quebec takes around the federal table. And then even PEI, a conservative premier, Premier King, newly elected, has said that they would, PEI will be an intervener, and he's not actually opposed to the federal carbon pricing system. He said, he may actually support the federal jurisdiction, but at least wants to have a seat at the table. So I think right now, there is the Conference of Federation. The premiers met in Saskatoon this week. Climate change was on the agenda. Pipelines were on the agenda. Carbon pricing was on the agenda. I think that there's a lot of jockeying for position. Everybody wants to be at the table. Everybody recognizes that these are issues that are not going away. They won't be resolved in the next couple of months. They all want to be at the table and involved in the discussions moving